Good morning. This is our weekly Wednesday wisdom call. My name is Marty Forrest. I am a mentor coach, and I also do a mentor group coaching call. It's a 6-week course, and I have not scheduled another one yet this year. I was looking at the calendar, and it's kind of crazy busy right now, so it's nothing on the calendar yet. I am still available for one-on-one coaching. Those are much easier to fit in if that is something that speaks to you. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life, helloextraordinarylife.com, and you can go there and get your free guide to reprogramming your negative self-talk. It's a document I created, and it's tips and tools about reprogramming and how to begin doing that. And it takes some effort and courage. Good morning. And today our topic is, well, I said giving up coffee because I knew that would get people's attention. Really. And I had some great comments on that, and people going, no, I'm not giving up my coffee. And I said, well, really, I don't know that I will either, but what I recognized were the patterns that showed up just by having the thought about giving up coffee. Because I was having a coaching call I'm taking a course on, it's called Body Joy, and it's about taking care of the body. And she asked me a question about what's the thing that I know I'm doing that's not good for me. And I first thing that pops in my head is I got a cup of coffee in my hand. Like, the coffee. And I thought, well, I love my coffee. And the whole, the trigger of that thought of giving that up spiraled. I hung up the phone. I went and got another cup of coffee right away. I'd already made a pot of coffee, so I got another cup of coffee. And then we had some pizza left over, so I ate pizza. And then I had an Easter candy. I'm like, wow. So I really observed that. Just the thought of giving something up or changing something. It doesn't mean I'm not going to drink coffee. Maybe I drink 1 cup instead of 3. The point is what happens in our brain when we think about giving something up or changing something in our life. What happens when we think about, I know my friend moved, and all the thoughts that come along with that and all the fear that comes behind that and the things that we do as a result of those thoughts, right? It's all about the thought. And then we are reacting, and many of those thoughts are simply unconscious things that we go, oh, fear, I'm threatened, my survival, I must hold on to the things that I'm familiar and comfortable with. So I love the coffee, and I know many people we love our coffee. And that's not the only thing. It's anything that triggers those thoughts that cause other behaviors because they're based out of fear. I don't want to really give up my coffee. I don't want to make that change. I don't want to do something different. I want to drink my coffee. Let's make that a different thing. One person here I know just moved out of state. What about when you're leaving a relationship? You're ending a relationship. Or you're deciding maybe that how I'm behaving is not really effective. If I'm always reacting to someone who just gets in my way, let's just say. Walking along, somebody gets in my way. What's my reaction? Triggered. I'm reacting. And it comes from a place of I want to hold on to the thing I'm comfortable with. My thought about that is if I give it up, what do I replace it with? Or I'm comfortable with that behavior. Whether it's about coffee or staying comfortable in the place that we live or staying in an abusive relationship because we know the rules. We know the rules in those places that are familiar and we are habituated to. We know how to play there. And to do something different means we do something different. It means something changes. And that means that our survival mode kicks in or our stressor kicks in at the threat of losing something, you can unmute with *6. So it's just the possibility of a threat that kicks in our survival mode or our perceived, I'm going to lose something that makes me feel good or makes me feel comfortable or something that I like. They're habits. What are habits? They're things that we do over and over and over and over. Whether they're productive or effective is where the choices lie, is taking a look at, is how I'm doing my habits. Is it good for me? Is it something that I'd like to change? If I'm not ready to change it, I'm clearly not going to change it. But we have habits like getting up in the morning, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, getting ready. We have things that are habits that are good for us. So let's say we get up, we meet our guy, our mate, whoever that is. We say hello, good morning. We give them a kiss and a hug. Good habits, right? They're good habits that work. When they're habits that maybe 5 cups of coffee is not so good for me. Maybe 1 cup of coffee is enough, in moderation. Maybe screaming at the driver next to me because he just cut me off might make me feel good in the moment, but what happens in my body? I have fear, my survival's threatened, and in my body, all those adrenaline, cortisol, all the stress hormones get kicked in because I have a moment of feeling unsafe. This is across the board. Now, when someone cuts me off in traffic, that's a real threat. That could have caused an accident. Now, did it? Probably not if I just got cut off and I'm stressed out about it. My body has the reaction. But when I think about, let's just say I have a coworker that I'm not really fond of working with. They're just not a nice person. And just the thought of that creates the same chemicals in my body. When I say I'm excited versus I'm nervous or scared, the same chemicals get released in my body, but one produces something different in the brain. When I'm scared, the chemicals get released, the stress hormones. My brain is scared. It feels not safe, kicks into some of the habits that will keep me safe. Maybe they're good ones, maybe they're not. When if I change the language from feeling scared, about moving, to excited, my brain can relax and go, oh, okay, we're just excited about this. The hormones start winding down and I feel safe. So it's something that happens in the brain when the simple change in language, scared versus excited. Then there's the real threat of somebody cutting me off in traffic and almost causing an accident. Then I can change the perception of, oh, okay, that happened, I reacted, that's what I'm supposed to do. Now I can start talking myself off the ledge. I'm safe now. And I can say a prayer for that person. That's what I do. I'll say a prayer for them. Bless them in a good way, keep them safe, and everyone around them. That gives my brain the cue, oh, okay, I got cut off, I got scared, but I have a new cue. I don't stay in that same reaction mode. I have a new cue. I let that trigger me to say now a prayer for that person and remind myself that I'm safe, that there was no accident. So when we're doing these habits and we want to change them, there's usually a trigger. Get up in the morning, brush my teeth, take a shower, go drink my coffee. Those are my habits. If I want to add something in, I want to create a new habit, I have triggers already in place that are good things. So the more extreme one is somebody cutting me off. I don't always come off that ledge right away, and it took some practice to do that. It took practice to change that from you're an effing asshole, what the hell are you thinking, to, oh, I had to practice changing the thought to, maybe he really does need to get somewhere. I'm okay. Yes, I got caught up and I got scared. Spirit bless him in a good way. Right, so I've changed that cue to be something where I can change my thought. When we have habits that we do, and we can use them as a trigger, and I use somebody cutting me off, but let's say it's the coworker. Go back to the coworker. And I just have these thoughts that I don't like her, I don't like working with her, and I'm now in that habit of thought patterns of engaging in the simple fact that I don't like being in that space. But I have a job and I have a paycheck. And I need the job and the paycheck. And I have to work with this person that I don't really like. How can I use that trigger, the cue, right? I have to go to work every morning and I sit in a cubicle near someone that I don't like. Let's take that trigger and shift our thought about it. Instead of allowing my thought to go run amok down the rabbit hole of I don't like her, and now I'm just creating this whole space of I don't like her energy, which engages her I don't like you either energy. What if we just change the thought? Well, I wonder what that's about for her. What if we got curious? Instead of going to that normal, habitual, I don't like her place, this is where the practice is. I'm sighing. I have to go to work today. All right, well, what if we just got curious? I wonder what today will hold. I wonder what would happen if I just say good morning, hello, and I treat her the same as I would anyone else, and I let her be however she is. And maybe I get curious about why is she that way? Maybe I don't care. But I could look at, there's always a reason someone acts like that. And sometimes I act like that. So why do I act like that? So there's ways to get into those changes of our thoughts about the person. Because generally, they're reflecting something back to me. I don't like her. What is it I don't like about her? What is that saying about me? What is it that I don't like about me that's in her? That's usually the reflection. Sometimes I just don't like that behavior. Well, does that mean that I have to still have bad thoughts about her? Or can I just go, oh, this doesn't really work for me, and I go about my day and stop engaging in my thoughts about her behavior? I say her, it could be anybody, him or her, it doesn't matter, whoever you might work with. And it's just an example of choosing, making the choice of, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to work, here's my cue, right? My cue is, I have to go work with that person. I don't like her. Let's insert something else there. Maybe the thought still shows up, I don't like her. Okay, well, what's my new thought? How am I going to think differently about this? Because it's only affecting, well, it's not only affecting me, but it primarily affects me and sets me up to have a less than stellar day. The fact is, I'm not going to like everyone, and not everyone's going to like me, but I get to choose how I want to think about it, or not. So we create these habits and patterns, and then we keep doing the same thing, and we're getting something out of it. We have a cue or a trigger. We step into our pattern and our habit, and we get something. There's a reward at the end. Maybe it's that I don't have to get close to her. Maybe it's that I don't have to get to know her. Maybe it's that I can just keep that my own adrenaline going because I have those thoughts about I don't like her. Maybe I like that place and I'm comfortable in that place. So there's always those three steps, right? There's a cue or trigger. There's my reaction to that. And then there's my reward for it. I get up in the morning, I'm going back to my coffee. I make my coffee. I have my coffee. My reward is I get to wake up a little bit, and I can get quite chatty at times when I drink a lot of coffee, and that's my reward. And it stimulates my brain. So what if instead of, I did it this morning actually, I made my coffee, and then I went off and did this event. I came home, and I would normally make another pot of coffee. And instead I went, what if I made tea instead? So I've got enough caffeine in my system. I decided when I came home, instead of making, this was my normal routine would be to make another pot of coffee. Whether I drank it all or not is another story, but I would make another pot. And then I would drink my coffee, and I'm way stimulated, and I'm working away, and other things that start happening with that. And today I decided to heat up some water and make tea instead, because the reward is I want something warm and comfortable. It makes me feel good on the inside. So that's my reward now. I still get the warm, but I'm getting it out of a flavored tea instead of coffee. When it's a behavior with a coworker, come in. I've changed my behavior now. I've changed my thought. I'm going to say good morning, how are you? Or what's good about your day? Maybe I changed the question, because how are you can lead to all kinds of opening of the door. Maybe it's what's good about your day. Maybe it's not anything. Maybe it's good morning and you go to work. Maybe at lunch you get curious and you have a conversation with her. It's really about changing our thought about something, because it all happens in our mind first. And that takes practice, and it takes courage, and it takes getting out of our own way, because our habits are created from when we're children, what makes us feel safe, and we get triggered by anything. And someone who's just not a nice person that we're working with and has a bit of hostility or just grumpy or negative, what is that trigger for me? And what do I want the new behavior to be from the trigger? That's the key. I'm triggered. Instead of doing the same behavior, what's the new behavior? And sometimes we decide beforehand. If I know I'm going into work with someone who's I don't really like or don't want to be around, I decide beforehand what I want my new behavior to be. Then I don't have to try to figure it out in the moment. And then I get a different reward. Maybe we're never friends, but maybe we have a more cordial relationship or working environment. And it's okay if we're not friends, but at least we have a little more comfortable space to work in. So maybe that's the reward. I unmuted everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. So you muted us?
I heard you start coughing, and so I just muted it so I didn't have that on the recording.
You're so awesome. I had to take the dog out to go potty, and I muted it on this end. And but then I made a comment, and you didn't comment, and I went, I wonder. Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
I was thinking, are we supposed to comment now?
Yes.
Okay. For me, having had cancer so much, the coffee thing, back in the day I drank 2-3 pots. It's all I drank all day long. My mother did the same thing. She lived to be 69, which is not old. So back in the day, I also have a seizure disorder. So I began trying to change what I put inside of me and how I think back, way, way back at the age of 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. At this point, I do 2 cups of coffee a day. I drink them very strong. I use only whole whipping cream. And I don't drink any other coffee. I'm like, nothing else. I just drink the one I like that I love. And I had wondered what's the difference between tea and coffee, and then I thought to myself, well, I suppose if I drink herbal tea, so there is a difference, the no caffeine thing.
Right.
And so that I've experienced that. And what happened was, for me, I was able to change the behavior relatively rapidly because I was falling on the floor, having massive seizures, and ending up in the ER all the time. Pretty freaking quick to understand. Stimulants cause massive seizure activity, and if you don't stop, you will die. So we cut coffee way back, and we found drugs that worked, and along the years I became allergic, and we've changed, and thank God, high five, today they're under full control. You know, now the people thing, that's different. You got to go to work with the people. So I didn't have to do that. Being all this sickness made me disabled. So my thing, if I didn't like you, I just cut you off. Just goodbye. We don't see one another again. And I don't think about, well, yeah, I do. I have conversations with you for years in my head that we never had. Now, the driver cutting you off, I finally figured out a few years ago, my sponsor and I discovered that 90% of everything, and I mean every single thing that I ever worried about or was ever afraid of, literally never happened.
Right.
10% of it did. That's where the fear came from. I had these 10% of horrific experiences that gave me strange and excessive and bizarre responses to other people's stuff. Yeah, that
Yes.
10%, that was real, and I had a lot of work to do on that. And today, where I'm at, there's an inspirational speaker in my head. It's got my voice, and it's me. And I don't know where she came from, but when I start to beat myself up, and I do once or twice a day, and that's all, just once or twice. It used to be constant 24 hours a day. If I was awake, I was beating myself up for something. When I begin now, like I was having a crying, I'm starting to get, I'm working at, I'm not sick, but I've been sick. If my body is not in optimum condition, my mind goes crazy. There is not enough stuff in my system to fight a disease off and keep my brain functioning at optimum level. Therefore, before I ever break out with a fever or ever actually appear to be sick, my internal body is messing with my brain, and I don't make good decisions. And so because of that, I give myself an enormous break. Like yesterday, I had a lot of crying jags, and during the crying jag and the beating self, or regretting past mistakes, whatever, emotional, whatever, I'm like, okay, I accept that those thoughts are real. I accept that they have some root in reality from the long gone past. But they're not happening anymore today, sweetheart.
Right.
Today, you're battling an infection of some sort, a virus. Something has gotten in. You need to take care of you. So find something you like on Netflix. Cozy up with the dog and all. Shut the outside world out. I live in a van, and part of what I love about the van, all the windows are blocked. I love that I close the door to the cab, and I am literally in my own private cocoon. The only thing I don't have is air conditioning, and I wish I did.
Yeah,
but,
right?
Yeah, well, and I might get one. I have to get a generator if I get an air conditioner, but there is space between the solar panel and the roof vent to put a small AC unit. So someday, what?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So that, those are all the different areas. I got this good talker now, so
thank you.
But lots more to let go of in my life.
I want to check in with, I think Lisa stayed on the line. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah. I just had it on mute on my end.
Okay. Anything that you wanted to share before we?
Well, I've experienced a lot of those triggers for sure. I don't know. You kind of jumped around a lot today, so It was hard keeping up. Because I was on my first cup of coffee. How about that? Hey.
There we go. I was hoping I tied it all together, but I get it. I get the whole point of everything can trigger us.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, we just have to set a new idea on how we're going to react, I guess. The coffee thing's real strong for me. You know that. I've had to give it up a couple years there, and I would blow it up in my mind so much I was doing half decaf and half regular for 2 weeks out, trying to wean myself down because I did not want to give it up.
Right. Yep. Well, and the point of all that about coffee, I started with coffee, but it's really what we do in our life about our behaviors and our choices. Right?
Yeah.
We feel threatened. Oh my God, I'm going to lose the thing that I love to have, whether it's a food, a coffee, or a behavior.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we do react like that. Our body goes into fight or flight, and
exactly,
panic sets in, and we can either run with that, and who knows where we're going to end up, or try to figure out another trigger that's like, okay, it's setting it off, so what am I going to do different?
Right. That's it right there.